Hi everyone. I want to share with you a story of a horrendous storm that quickly came upon this group of people. The winds picked up, it was very devastating. The water was overwhelming the boat that they were in. They were totally in distress. This was out of the blue. A storm just came out of the blue. The winds picked up, the waves picked up, and the boat that they were on was totally being wrecked. Totally wrecked. Kind of like the boats behind. Imagine being in one of those. Totally wrecked. Out in the middle of a squall. Totally wrecked. Stressed out. And yet the challenge is to have faith that rests. Because they were having faith that was stressed. They were the disciples. And the storm was on the lake, just like the lake behind me. They were in a boat, and out of nowhere came this thunderous squall that lasted who knows how long, but it had them totally in distress. Everything was against them. The winds, the waves, the boat was being swamped. They did not know where to look, and rather than having faith that rests, they had faith that stressed. And yet they knew where to go. They went to Jesus, whose faith was resting. And Jesus, as you know the story, was at the boat, inside the boat, and he was sleeping. His faith was at rest. And here's the thing that dawned on me just recently. The reason Jesus could sleep, no matter the circumstances, is because he knew who he was. He knew who he was. He was secure in his identity. He knew who he was. And therefore, knowing who he was, he could rest. And boy, that challenged me. To be assured of who I am as a child of God, that gives me the ability to rest in no matter what the circumstances are, no matter what storms of life come my way. I can rest in them because I know who I am. I am a child of God, and he will take care of me. Interesting, though, that when Jesus did wake up, and this just hit me this morning, Jesus woke up, the disciples were stressed. They said, "Don't you care?" And he looked out of the boat, and he looked at the wind, and the Bible says that he rebuked the wind. He rebuked the wind. I am challenged for you to believe that there are forces at work causing winds in our life. I believe they are demonic forces, causing out of the nowhere things to arise, causing us to be stressed. I believe they're demonic forces, and the fact that Jesus rebuked the wind, that speaks of him rebuking an evil spirit. That speaks of him taking his authority as a child of God, being God himself. He rebuked that wind. He stood in his authority. He stood in his identity, and the storm, the wind, immediately subsided. You see, I believe on the other side of that lake, where he was going to go to deliver that demonic possessed man, I believe there was a principality that said, "Oh my gosh, I'm threatened. Here comes Jesus and his disciples." And so the principality set up this storm, causing him to be totally distressed, causing the disciples to be distressed. And Jesus said, "Oh, no, 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 no. And I rebuke you, principality, in the name of Calvary and the victory that Calvary brought. I know my authority in God. I know my authority because of the Father." And I believe that's our lesson for this season that we're living in. We need to know our authority. We need to know our identity. We need to rest in the faith of who we are in God. And we need to begin declaring and decreeing the authority of Christ and not living in the stress of the situation. Faith that rests in our identity. Faith that's stressed, forgetting it. Hope that blesses you. Have a great day. Go with God.